Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle. My co-host, the Mikes, are possibly going to be joining us in the meantime, but for right now, we have the legend, Mr. Rick Rock Doc Walker, joining us.
Not quite.
Formerly of the Washington Redskins, now known as the Washington Football Team. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. How you doing tonight, Mr. Walker?
I'm good. I'm just disappointed that I intimidated the Mikes.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to, kicking it with them, but that's okay. We can do this.
And make sure you give them crap the next time we get you on.
Oh,
right?
I will. Damn right.
They were scared of you. And speaking of being scared of you, Mr. Walker, this morning, you were able to go to RFK, kind of walk around the field with other alumni, with Mr. Wright. Kind of tell everyone how that went for you. Did you get any memories, feelings coming back to you?
Yeah, it was really emotional. I had no idea. After the team left, I covered the Federals there. I've done bowl games, there. And I've done like Maryland bowl games. UCLA's played there. I was a season ticket holder at RFK for the Nationals.
I saw
I've
them
done
too.
DC United games. I mean, so the place has such significance. Even as I do business in DC, I always, if I'm in that area, I'm taken by when I see the lots and lot 6 and 7, 8, and I just remember the relationships with the kids that would come up to your car before the game. And in my case, I'd always pick one guy or two guys and give them tickets every game.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just 2 tickets, and they happened to be Mike Loxley.
Oh, wow.
Who was 12 years old.
No way.
And Lox was probably working the entire lot. He was probably getting the visitors too. That kid has so much game, him and Sputney. Those guys, and they end up now, both of them very successful. Spud's in DC government. Lox is the head terp. And
that's awesome.
I did it because it was done to me by Willie Crittenton, who played with the New Orleans Saints and who played in the Continental Football League. Things are passed down. But I just got choked up when I got in there because the place has been abandoned for 2 years. Yeah. And so because they went to Aldi Field to play football with the new league, they didn't play at RFK.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the bowls that once were there, now I know that Touchdown Club's group has moved out to Annapolis and all that, and it's been a great bowl game. I've been there and watched games. It just the 72 game was the one game I remember because my guy Brig Owens was on that team. And when they stopped Walt Garrison at the goal line, Kenny Houston and Sonny and Billy and Smitty and Roy Jefferson and Larry Brown, and all those guys, I just, man, that was big. George Stark's on that team. Yeah. Charlie Haraway's on that team. There's just so many guys that I was 12, but they came out the Super Bowl in California. They played in the Coliseum. So they stayed in our hometown of Santa Ana, California at the Saddleback Inn. So our whole town was taking over the city because the Burgundy and Gold had landed and George Allen and all the mystique and that they brought into that great team. And so the Dancing Bear, McDole, Hamburger. I mean, I can go on and on because all those guys on my bedroom walls. Right. And they lose the game, and the Dolphins are undefeated. And who thought? No one's, has gotten to that point as of yet. So I think about the Wild Bunch.
Right.
Like a lot of you guys think about us. I think about the Wild Bunch. Because I remember those guys. I remember when Lombardi came in, they went to the helmet with the R on it in 69. All those things, because I'm in Southern Cal, and I'm watching the Raiders. I was not really warm and fuzzy with the Rams. I was with the Raiders and then the Burgundy and Gold because I knew Brig. I didn't know any of the guys personally who played in Oakland, but I knew Brig Owens, and he was a big shot in our time. We were all so proud of him. And then it just manifested itself when I got here. And Charlie Taylor, I thought he walked on water.
Because he doesn't?
Well, when I was, young playing and was told that, you can't play quarterback, I went to X and, I was tall, guy was 6'4", Charlie Taylor. So I was attracted to Otis Taylor with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was my first hero. Then Charlie Taylor. Then I remember 6'49" that stood out because it was nobody caught that many passes. And a true Hall of Famer. And that's why I could go back and this is real because they had an effect on me when I was 12. And so for me to come here and then see that NFC Championship ring, which is still one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen. And they had one. Charlie Taylor would be clean, had his SL. He was with the program. And, man, he told anything Charlie said, I did it twice. So, I go away. This is real.
Yeah.
It kills me to see the brand disrespected,
right, or
for us not to be in the hunt. Yeah. And then in DC is special. Yeah. I mean, I think we're lucky. And now since then, I've seen the Lombardi Trophy kissed 3 times, the Capitals parade, the Mystics celebration. When I look at what happened with the Curly W's, that celebration, I wasn't here when the Bullets won it, but Phil Chenier, he's a California kid.
Yeah.
So I always had my eye on him. There's so many connections. Greavy, I love him like a brother. I've just become attracted to the people in our community that makes us the DMV. And to see that place abandoned and the ruins there, and I was very emotional with it because I was and all I could hear was "We Want Dallas," that chant. and that moment when I come out in the locker room and that sticks with you, that diesel horn that went off, the Hogettes, and all of our crowd, because that stadium didn't separate us by wealth. They were all together. And when they go out on the corridor to smoke or hang out, everybody was together. Yeah. Now the tailgate area is the only place that we're kind of intermingled.
Right.
But because of business, and I'm not hating on progress and money. That's how we get players. That's how you make a living. Right. But these corporate suites, it's the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
And our place rocked. And it's hard to make it rock when you're sipping on champagne, caviar.
Right.
We're a hot dog, mustard, and beer kind of crowd.
Right.
So, but I'm not hating on wealth and success.
No.
But when I sat there and looked at that place, and all I could think of was Walt Garrison getting stopped on the 1, Charlie Taylor scoring 42 yards on the sideline, Kilmer hitting him in stride. I'm thinking of Mosley's kick against the New York Football Giants. It just started to snow just a little bit. And we driving down there and we get in position. Mo hammers it. And place goes nuts. I see Darrell Green and Monty Coleman against the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm on the sidelines covering the team. And I almost have a heart attack. The ball comes out and then they knock it down. Darrell Green, there on the moment, gets up. Gibbs was on his knees. We're going to the Super Bowl. And when I'm in RFK, Gary Clark, Minnesota Vikings, catches a pass. I'm working at News Channel 4. I'm in the end zone like an idiot, losing my composure. Gary catches out, goes up. He scores. I meet him in the end zone. And we start ball, and I'm thinking, I could have been fired, but I didn't care because I was still a part of that. It's the 1 year removed from the team.
Right.
So Gary Clark, I got to play with Gary. So that's my guy. There's so many in these memories of being there. The 49ers, NFC Championship game, the Cowboy Championship game, 50 guts 7 straight times, seeing Randy White cussing out Mark May, and going through all these things. And I was exhausted with these memories. Now we lost to the Bears there.
Right.
I still can't get over that. Walter Payton threw an option pass, and we got Ken Huff broke his ankle. No excuse. We got beat.
Ron Rivera was on that team, wasn't he?
You had to bring that up? Did you have to bring that up?
I know. I had to make that connection.
Every time when I see Coach Rubin, see, Ron's a Pac-8 guy. He's a Bear.
Right.
So him and Jack, he's a Trojan. Y'all hate on the West Coast out here, so I stand up for them. I stand up for the Trojan, for the Bears, because unless we're dominant, that's why I'm happy in baseball that the Padres are hot, the Giants are hot, the Dodgers are always there, and the Angels are loaded. And Seattle, we need West Coast attraction to keep us up, because unless they're in first place, we cut the TV off at 10.
Oh, yeah.
No, you got to stay up till 1 a.m. And so that's what I was going through at RFK. And I had the jacket on.
I saw that
the football team gave me, and that 49 is Bobby Mitchell, the first African-American.
Yes, sir. To
play on this team, to play at that stadium. And I hope for a lot of things. One is that we're back in the District of Columbia at some point in time, and that Bobby Mitchell's name is somewhere on that stadium or statue in front of it, somewhere that we acknowledge a guy that never really got the recognition, in my opinion, that he deserved.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I know that you had a friend with you there, and Mr. Wright, so I'm sure that you went ahead and told him about what you think this should go down.
It's the first time I ever had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Wright.
And how was that?
I never met him, and I went to him and said, Mr. Wright, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, one thing about age that gives you an age and experience, you might get some wisdom too, is that I've seen a lot. I've seen the struggles of African Americans, not on the field, but I saw the struggle at the quarterback position until number 17 broke through the glass, and Doug Williams, and who was there. I saw Mark Rippon, who was there, Canadian, came through. Nobody gave Rip anything. Rip fought his guts out and went and did it. And Joe Theismann did too. What Joe T had to go through with Billy and Sonny and trying to make the team, hell, I'll catch punts if need be. That dude had the biggest heart of anybody I've ever been in a huddle with. So those 3 champions, when I looked at those 3 Lombardi trophies, it was representative to me of the 3 signal callers. Because you don't get there without one. And they have to make those plays. And all the rest of us, we just line workers. We're construction guys. We got hard hats on, but we just want to get that trophy.
Right.
And I got to go and pick up Super Bowl 17. I wouldn't dare touch the other ones. I honor them. But I held that in my hands, and I know somebody might get fired over that, and I hope not, because I begged them just one more time just to hold it and to read the names. Well, no, those things they're not mine. But to see the names, every guy's name is on the side of that.
It's special. And I mean, I can't imagine what the kind of feelings that you get by going back onto RFK, Doc, being all those important moments. But let's bring this to present day now. Okay. Last time that we talked to you, I remember asking you, what do you want to do or see Coach Rivera in the offseason do with this team, right? Like, what would you do? And I remember distinctly, you said build in the trenches. You want to really strengthen the trenches and have that big fight in the middle. That's what you want to do. The Washington football team went out and traded for Eric Flowers right before the draft by swapping the 7th rounders. They bring in Samuel Cosme. They met with Charles Leno today. So do you think that Coach Rivera and this front office has done a good job of building up those trenches like you wanted?
Well, again, they can't get credit for their fruits of their labor until training camp.
Right.
I mean, all this right now is on paper. And we'll get a chance to see him in the OTAs and mini camps, but it's still there in shorts. See, I'm like Tom Brady. Tom Brady wears his uniform all year. He works out in pads in the offseason. If you play the game in full armor, then to me, I don't judge anything if you're not in full pads. and there's got to be some sense of violence. Not every drill, not every time, but I don't believe that you can have a nonviolent practice. There's got to be, because your senses have to be developed as that this ain't no push and pull thing.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of time for that, but I don't care if it's 2 plays or 3 plays. I would never want to be a part of a group that didn't have anything live. We had 5 live goal line plays every week. 9 on 7. Ask any of the guys that played in the interior line. They went live every third, 9 on 7.
9 on 7.
It was ferocious. And we got to sit to look at it, man. The wars that we talk about with Jacoby and Dexter and Charles Mann and George Stark and Tony McGee and Mark May, all those guys, Dave Butts and Mayday. I mean, that's just 2 elephants going at it. And then the best one, the heavyweight championship of the world, was Russ Grimm and World Grant. And they fight to the death. You got to pull them guys. You got to have a whistle, because neither guy would ever quit. And that's why both of those guys were spectacular. And Russ is in the Hall of Fame, and his sparring partner does not get his due. Darryl Grant might have been one of the more complete players I've ever played with. Offense, defense, special teams. Did it all. Jeff Bostic. Pound for pound, toughest guy in the world. So that's what I think about. I think about what we went through, what we were able to get accomplished, and I look at this team as an alum, and I just smile because, A, they're hard workers. They are attention to detail guys. You know how many games I've covered on this team over the years, and somebody's running right down the field? That Indianapolis game, I still bring it up in Indy. We turned that tight end to all-world.
Yeah.
Nobody covered him twice. We had gaffes in our secondary. That's over. That's over. You may beat us, but you'll beat us man-to-man. Yeah. Or you'll beat because the guy was just better. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up 500 yards against in the playoff. So I hear people talking about, oh, we played Tampa. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Their best player in the world, that kid 45 White, that linebacker they have, he did not play against us. And I'm happy he didn't. Because, see, so just keep it real. We did much better. Ron fought cancer en route to leading his team to a championship.
In the first year.
Alex Smith did the impossible and gave you everything he had to put us and keep us in position. And Allen played his butt off, got Nick. Heineke came in and showed the heart of a mountain lion. So you look at a kid like Lucas who played left tackle. He was in Chicago, okay? And if he was that, he'd have still been in Chicago. They said, we don't want you.
Right.
Masco, the offensive line here guy, he got some head hog in him. Because coaching the offensive line, we've had Bugle, we've had Hannafin, we've had some monsters here. This guy's got the right stuff. He turned that kid into a guy that might have been a journeyman into a player.
Right.
Everybody that stepped in, Roulier's a 6th-round pick, got a new contract. Big Nasty. He's worth his money, and I'm not mad at him for wanting it. That's what you play this game for, to make money. If they settle it, it'll be great. If they don't, we'll replace him with another guy.
Right.
Because no body stops the show. And Morgan Moses, all I can do is hope for continued health because Big Boy's got talent. Yes, we got to keep him on the field, keep him going. Charles, the kid out of LSU, didn't even play last year.
Right.
So we don't know. He's still a question mark for me until I see him in Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
But now we got a chance to redshirt him. And I'm excited about the offensive line and the defensive line. Our D-line gets a lot of credit. Guess who they spar against?
Exactly.
Iron versus iron, baby. You can't, there's no such thing as ones versus the scout team. That's garbage. All the power programs, and only the power programs because they have depth.
Right.
Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, I guarantee you, it's ones versus ones. Don McKay did that back at USC in the 60s. So I'm just saying that's what I'm attracted to. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's what I know.
Right.
And I know the other stuff until I see it work, then I'm going to stick to what I believe in. And I believe they have the same core principles.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely do. And I will say they deserve a lot of credit because they did a good job of changing our weaknesses from last year. We're depth on the offensive line. They were able to bring a lot of guys in, making it into a strength. Same thing with wide receiver. Talent was lacking last year, but they did a lot this offseason to be able to gear it and get it ready to go. Now, Doc, you were a former tight end. You played there. You won a Super Bowl. You've done a great job. You've now covered the team for a long time. They drafted John Bates at tight end, and they also brought in Sammis Reyes, the tight end, the prospect. He's been working, training with our former guest Logan Paulson on the side, learning how to play tight end. What do you think about those two tight ends? Do you see possibly Reyes being able to develop possibly in the starter one day? And do you see John Bates being a good number two?
I love Bates. Reyes, he's lucky he's with Logan.
Yeah.
Logan not only played the game at a high level, he's mastering the game.
Yes, sir.
From a mental standpoint. Not everybody can teach.
Right.
A lot of guys played, I wouldn't let them teach my dog tricks. Logan gets it. If you heard any of his draft coverage,
yes,
he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting in the work, and I hope that somebody gives him the opportunity. We have a lot of guys like Logan that put Kendrick Golson, same guy, savant.
Yep.
They put in the work. What they need to be given is an opportunity to show it off. But there's been a little bit of wink, wink when it comes to former players in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
We'll do that at another day, another time. But that kid, to me, prospect, long shot, needs a redshirt year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so unless he's just a freak of nature, comes out and proves me wrong. But the other kid out of Boise, he's gift wrapped because he wants to put his hand in the dirt.
Right.
You know, he's not being evaluated by a 40 time or how many catches. We got a guy for that. And what you get guys for that. What we need to be able to do is on 3rd and 4, we got to get around that corner.
You got to be able to push somebody around.
We got to be better on the edges. Mm-hmm. We've been mediocre on the edge. It's time to change that.
Yes, sir.
I'm a fullback and I'm a Y tight end guy. The H is cool, but we have got to be able to move defensive ends and linebackers,
yes, sir,
stout guys to beat the Giants. You just – and I'm not against throwing. We throw – I mean, Charlie Brown, the Smurfs, I'm all for all that after we bloody your nose. You know, after you dizzy, then we get cute. But I don't want to get cute to start the game off because it sends it's a bad message.
Right.
That we got to trick you in order to beat you. Now we're going to punch you in the face over and over and over and then win it in the 4th quarter. That's all I know. That's the formula. And not just me. The world champions did the same thing. The Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. They running it downhill and then they had a master. And then they go to play action and guess what? You're dead. Up. You tore up from the floor up.
Yep.
But what made Tampa world champions? That defense.
Yep.
And Todd Bowles, one of our own, once again, here we go. We got our own league. Mark Murphy is in the championship game with the Packers, president. We got people out there. And now we're developing our own stock here because Martin Mayhew is back. Marty Herney is back. There are people. See, and what Ron is doing, I think he's getting people in the building that Tim Hightower, he's in the building.
My man.
He's Burgundy and gold. You know, and so the fact that we've got the president, Jason Wright, he's a pro. He's a baller. Now he's handling finance and all that other stuff, but look, he's strapped up. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be able to talk to a kid maybe at lunch, maybe walking in the building and drop some pearls on him. I love where we're going because it's football centric now. It ain't about celebrities and man, that don't win. You know, we bust a grape.
Right.
Okay. In 21 years. Now it's time to get back in our rightful place. And that's in the thick of it. I don't know if you win it, but you can't win it at home. in January. That's a fact.
You're absolutely right, Rick. And that goes on to my next question for you. You know, because for me personally, I know I listened to Brian Mitchell with On 106, and he feels the same way I do.
Oh, man.
Oh, what do you got for me?
Oh.
Look at you got the book. Yeah, Brian Mitchell. He just came out with an author child kids book.
My boy,
The Champion's Heart.
Hey man, he's a savage.
He is.
I mean, him in a children's book. He should be writing books for pit bulls and stuff. But no, it was good. I love that dude. He's talking about a heart.
Right. So what I was going to say is, like, because he agrees with me, right? When I look at this season, Doc, I view this season coming up as a regression if they don't win the division. I think it's playoffs or bust for me personally. Yeah. And building off last year, do you think that's crazy to say?
Who in the hell would start a season not expecting to win the division?
Right.
And go into the playoffs and hosting the NFC Championship at FedEx? I don't know any other way to do it.
Right.
I mean, why not? Why not us? It's on the guys. You got skill. We can get better. Yeah, we can win, and we have to get better.
Mm-hmm.
We were gutted. The last time we played, 500 yards against your defense. So you can pat yourself on the back all you want. And we didn't get in the end zone. We did not win the game.
Right.
Getting in it, celebrating that, no, that's for Dallas to do. We get in it. We got to win it. We get in it. We ain't getting no appearance and all that.
So I'm glad that you agree with me, Doc. I really do. I'm glad that you do. Now,
I'm not doing it for popularity. I'm telling you what I feel.
No, I just want to. I'm just for reassurance for me, just to know that I'm not crazy. I'm glad that you agree with me because you have a good head on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. Now, my next question for you that I have. Ryan Kerrigan, that name has been floated around as a possible return for this football team. Obviously, in the 7th round, Washington drafted Will Bradley King out of Baylor. They drafted Shaka Toney out of Penn State as well.
I love them kids. Did you hear the interview?
Yeah.
What? See, I want to hear what they say before I watch him hit. I saw the college tape. Fred Smoot had him on the Daily W. And I'm telling you, they said what I want to hear. They're pissed that they weren't the first players taken. They feel like they were undervalued and disrespected. The only way you can prove people wrong
is by showing it.
Put your pads on. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's the first thing I want. Not a guy like Gomer Pyle to go, I'm so happy to be. No, I don't need all that. I want chip on your shoulder. Chip, our first round pick got a chip on his shoulder. Dude looked like Monty Coleman, man.
See, like, that was going to be my last question to you, Doc, was how you felt about Jamin Davis.
What? Can't wait to meet him. I'm going to hug him. Like and I don't even know him. See, that's the kind of guys that excite me. You know, I want the guy who's not looking to start his second career before he does his first. See, these guys come in their first round pick. Hey, you know, and they come in, and I love Robert. I love Bobby Griffin for what he did. He gave us a shot of adrenaline in 212.
Yeah.
We were staggering, and he gave us some adrenaline, got us back upright again, gave us that hope. And
that smelling salts.
Home field playoff game thing. We didn't win it, but we got back in it with Bobby. But we couldn't manage it right. See, we've been mismanaging the operation.
Mm-hmm.
That days are over. So now structure is more than lip service. Accountability. Dan's never been short of paying. He'll pay people.
Right.
But with that payment's got to come some responsibility. I'm going to give you this. Now, here's what I expect in return.
Right.
I'm going to give you $20 million and have to kiss your behind to get you to come in early? Oh, hell no. I don't believe in that.
I love that way of thinking, Doc.
So once we establish these guys, instead of these signings being, you know, all steak and champagne, no. We've done nothing yet. Congratulations. You earned that from college. Bonuses are a reflection of your collegiate results. It has nothing to do with the NFL. You get in this bad boy, now you on the clock. I don't care. They earned it. They did that from college.
Right.
Look at all the second rounds guys we've had in here, we don't have one of them damn near. They're still here.
Right.
It's too much draft capital. Did we just pissing away?
Right.
Because maybe you're not getting the right guy for the right reasons. So that's why I love the fact that Ron interviews these dudes, man. Ron talks to these guys, it seems like, more than the scouts.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Absolutely love it.
He's held responsibility. If it fails, be on Ron.
Yes, 150%.
So he knows it. He's talking. I've talked to the guy. I'm hearing it. Yeah, well, Coach Ron talk. Yeah, he makes it clear. Happy to have you. Now let's get to work. Instead of flying you around and WW1 and all that celebratory crap that they did for 2 decades. You're over. You've not been in a championship game, not been in a Super Bowl. Over. And until we recognize that and realize that we're not a startup, okay, we've been there before.
Right.
And it's time for people to stop shucking and jiving and acting like they're bigger than they are and realize it's time to go to work. And this group they just brought in, just like last year's group.
Yes, sir.
They got it. They got the right people.
They got it. And to wrap this up, Doc, the last question that I have for you, where is it? Oh, the last question. It's not really a fun one, but the NFL just released, because, you played in the league. They just changed the jersey number. So now wide receivers can wear the single digits and stuff like that. I wanted to see how you felt about that change of the NFL. And if you could, what number would you have worn instead of what you wore in the pros?
I wore the one I wore.
Okay.
Because, I wore 7 in college. So I'm 7 and 88, 9. It's cool. It's not the number. It's the results you get in the number. If a kid came up to me talking about a number, I'd cut him. I don't give a damn about number. You go prove something. Then I'll give you whatever number you want. If you Gary Clark, you can get any number you want. Hey, Art Monk, what number would you like? Ricky Sanders. Are you happy, Rick? See, everything with me is you produce. I get Donnie Warren. Hey, Donnie, what number do you want? These kids coming in with 2. I don't give a damn what number they wear. I care what they do in the number.
I love your responses, Doc.
I'm just keeping it real. We went through this crap with Dwayne.
Right.
7. I want he had to go to Joe. See, they're lucky I'm not in management. That's why I'm not. See, because they can't handle the truth.
Right.
See, and I'm going to tell you straight up. I told him, hell no. Now, you go out there and win me 10, I might consider it because it's on the shelf.
Right.
You want it, go earn it.
Looks like
I'm giving you the money. Here's what I would have done. All right, big fella. You want the number? Then give me back half that cash. How bad do you want that number? See, that's what I would have said to him. I need to see the negotiations. That's all I'm saying. And
I absolutely love it, Doc. I really do. I can't thank you enough for joining us again, Doc. I wanted to be able to get your thoughts on how RFK was, and you did more than that. You gave me more than enough of what I was expecting.
Amen.
Your energy, as always, is on level 11 out of 10, Doc. Can't thank you enough, sir.
Hey, man, I've told everybody, when we're in our business, we're the luckiest guys in the world.
Right.
You can make a living doing what you love.
Right.
That's what this is all about. And all the folks out there want to catch me on my podcast on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Doc Walker and join us inside the locker room. If you have the guts to deal with it, then we're for it. We're not for everybody.
That's true.
We got Surgeon General thing on our door. I don't want to ever be for the masses.
Right.
You want to man up, then, take a shot. If not, it's all good. Nothing but respect for you.
There we go. See, that's my kind of podcast right there, Doc. I can't thank you enough, sir. I hope you have a great night. And until next time, make sure you give Mike's crap the next time you're on, all right?
They were scared. I don't know. I was nice to those guys, too.
I know.
I can't believe it. I was really nice to them.
I told him, I was like, what are you guys doing? It's Doc tonight. What are you doing?
That's all right. Wait till next time.
Next time.
I'll be back. If y'all want me, I'll be back.
Of course we want you back, Doc.
Good
I can't
deal.
thank you, sir. You have a great night, all right?
You got it, man.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Anytime.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with Doc Walker. That was a great episode, to say the least. To be able to hear his times with the Washington football team, not only as a player, but as a fan, talking about all those years and being on that field today was obviously a huge case for him. It was very emotional, pulling, and went through a lot of memories. And thank the Lord that Doc was able to come on and kind of describe that for us and what it was like for him. As fans, we kind of feel a certain way about it, but imagine what it would be like for a player who experienced those on-the-field situations and the euphoria of it all. I mean, that has to be huge for Doc. Thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us. So let's move on to our fan questions here, and I'm going to start out with none other than the Colonel. The Colonel's question that he has for us is, you three have had 2 weeks to almost digest the draft. How do you see Washington football team's offense changing in 2021 besides the obvious speed? Last year, Colonel, they were third worst in the league with yards per attempt with passing. It was abysmal. Only a couple teams are worse than them. They go out and they get Ryan Fitzpatrick, the gunslinger. I like to call him the poor man's Brett Favre, just throwing the ball willy-nilly. We saw the replay of last year of him in Miami against the Raiders. He's getting his helmet pulled. He throws that ball up anyway. That's Ryan Fitzpatrick in a nutshell. By bringing that in, you're automatically changing your offense because now you can extend the ball down the field more often. Defenses are going to have to respect that. Last year, defenses were playing us in the box, putting 8 in the box, saying, okay, yeah, sure, have Dwayne, have Alex beat us through the air with not that much talent on the outside, without your O-line being able to really push guys through. What can you do here? With Ryan Fitzpatrick added with Curtis Samuel, now with Diami Brown and Adam Humphries, Logan Thomas coming off of, it should have been a Pro Bowl year, the offense changes immensely because now it's vertical. Now defense are going to have to say, okay, they got this kid, Diami Brown. He averaged 20 yards per catch last year at North Carolina. At North Carolina with Sam Howell. Obviously, much respect to Sam Howell, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is better. Imagine what he would get here. And when you see Diami Brown, watch his replays. I'm not kidding you. Go to YouTube, type in Diami Brown verse, and you'll see every single game when he runs that fly route, there's maybe a 50, 60% chance he's wide open. All you got to do is throw it far. It's like Djax. When Djax was here in Washington, all Kirk had to do was throw the ball as deep as he could, and Djax would go get it. That's how fast he was. That's the kind of feeling I get with Diami Brown. So, Colonel, in all, they're changing vertically. It's not going to be so much of horizontally. You're still going to have the pre-snap motions and everything like that, but they're really going to be stretching the field vertically from now on. They're not going to be having to do everything low and close to the line of scrimmage. They can really start accelerating their offense. That's the biggest adjustment you're going to see. This is almost a complete overhaul of the offensive unit, to be perfectly honest, with how many people they brought in. It's very different offense than it was from last year, that without a doubt. Now, Colonel's next question was, do you guys see any particular sexy free agents or holes that we need to fill in free agency? I'm not going to say really like sexy by any stretch because obviously the team is still bringing in free agents. They met with Charles Leno. They met with the other corner today, or safety, bless my heart. And they've done a good job of bringing those guys in, and they're really good hits. Because one thing that we saw this year is we saw a bunch of free agents, right, coming out, and high-profile free agents. And teams didn't have the cap space to kind of pay them what they wanted. So you kind of have this pushing of all of these top free agents kind of going for bottom dollar. Trey Turner, Pro Bowl guard, Ron Rivera coach, drafted to Carolina. He's only asking for $2 to $3 million and his contract is signed. That's a Pro Bowl guard. That's only asking for $2 to $3 million. We're paying Sheriff 18. So we're seeing all of that free agents you're seeing it balancing itself out. And so by them going and saying, all right, we spent a draft pick on Sam Cosmi. Now let's bring in Charles Leno and let's see if we could get a deal signed, because now you're changing your depth altogether. You know what I mean? So they've done a really good job thus far, Colonel, of filling those holes in those places where they need. Now, I would say the one glaring hole still, because I wanted to see another linebacker drafted. It didn't happen. Obviously, they have Landon Collins possibly going to change. We got Khaleke Hudson, who we drafted last year. You got Josh Harvey Clemens coming back, John Bostic, Cole Holcomb. But I still would like to see a linebacker signed here. Either a KJ Wright, who was probably one of the best cover and outside linebackers in a 4-3, rated by Pro Football Focus last year. I'd love to see a guy like KJ Wright or Quan Alexander added to this linebacking core, because they bring that veteran presence, that veteran leadership. Right now, we got a bunch of guys that are kind of in the fold, kind of getting used to the way things are, where if you could bring a vet into that room, kind of like Thomas Davis did last year, where you kind of get everyone up to speed, kind of let them know what's going on, I would absolutely love that. So if I'm going to go down an avenue, it's linebacker, Quan Alexander, KJ Wright. That's what I'm going for, Colonel, to be perfectly honest. Now, our next question is from Tony Shivers. Tony, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate all your support. He asked, with the additions, who do you think starts on the left side of the O-line? I put out a little teaser last week or 2 weeks ago of what I thought the depth chart would be, and my call was that Sam Cosmi would be starting at left tackle. At left guard, it would be Sadiq Charles, and that's the way I viewed it. Now, since then, things have changed. They're bringing in Charles Leno, right? Because when I brought out that depth chart, my mind was thinking that they like Sadiq Charles at left tackle. I mean, not Sadiq Charles. They like Cornelius Lucas at left tackle, but they love him as a backup swing tackle to right and left. You know, if you have to depend on that guy every game, it's kind of iffy. But if you know that he's your backup and he could step in right away in case of injury, that's a slam dunk. You know, it's guaranteed, that's good to go. That's where you love him at. So then, is Sam Cosmi good enough to start? That's the biggest question there. And in my personal belief, you don't draft a left tackle in the second round and make it such a point of emphasis to say left tackle is a big need if you aren't going to start him right away, if he's not good enough to make it there. Because if your second round pick isn't good enough to start at left tackle right away, why did you kind of use that second rounder on him, obviously? But you need the help. And over time, he can groom. I'm just hoping that Mike Matzko can develop Sam Cosmi a short amount of time and get him there. The kid is 6'7", 310 pounds. He needs to add on a little bit of weight. But my goodness, he's a behemoth. He's huge. And you're adding that to this offensive line when you could possibly have Eric Flowers left guard or Sadiq Charles. That's a hard-hitting group, my friend. And one of the words I was describing of Sam Cosmi by the Washington football team was he was a mauler. A mauler, Tony. That just coincides with everything else on the offensive line. So, for my predictions, Tony, I'm going to have Sam Cosmi at left and left guard Sadiq Charles. Just because I believe Sadiq Charles is that good. When I did my film breakdown of him before he was even drafted by us, I said this kid is not a left tackle right away, especially in a COVID-restricted year. He's not a left tackle right away. He's most likely a guard until he progresses and gets better once he has that one-on-one kind of training with coaches and everything like that. That's where I see fit. And when the 2 snaps I saw him in left guard last year, I was very impressed. The kid was electric off the ball, explosive, was moving guys out of the way. I think that he could legitimately win that left guard spot and then move Wes Schweitzer to being the backup guard for Brandon Sheriff at right guard. Obviously, Schweitzer can move around, but just like with Cornelius Lucas, I think they love Schweitzer as a backup swing guard rather than a starter. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, obviously Schweitzer earned it. Did a great job last year. He should have dibs. But in my personal opinion, I just feel like Sadiq Charles is more talented, if that's the best way to say it. Now, moving on to Scott. He's Scott Hartley from the Inquirer. Oi! He wants to know, would the team bring in vets for visits? Where do you think we need depth apart from the obvious safety position? Barty already said it. We need more depth at linebacker. I honestly say I do think we need a little bit more there. And then the other spot I guess you could really go with is defensive end and Ryan Kerrigan. Because, I love Will Bradley King and Shaka Toney. I love the thought process behind it. When you watch that Tampa Bay tape, there's one play in particular. Casey Tuhill gets out of position, and they end up scoring a touchdown, right? It's not the end of the world. Casey Tuhill's a great guy. He probably does really well, whatever have you. But I think the coaching staff kind of viewed that as we need to have better depth here for pass rushers. Ryan Kerrigan leaves, right? You got Ryan Anderson at left as well. You don't really have anything now. So they drafted Shaka Toney and Will Bradley King, but there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to step right in right away and be able to compete on a pro level. So if I'm going to bring depth, it's the pass rusher position. I'm re-signing Kerrigan. Let's finish this, dude. Let's finish this. Out of all the years that you've been with Washington, this is the first time that they have been this good, literally a quarterback away, a consistent quarterback away from being legitimate playoff contenders. I'm not saying Super Bowl contenders, but I'm going to say playoff contenders. They could legitimately win a couple games. I'm not lying here. They are that good, especially with consistent quarterback play. Why wouldn't you want to come back here? Out of all the years, out of all the depression and horrible times that we've had since you've been drafted here, Ryan, why wouldn't you want to return here? I understand you want to start. I understand you want to progress your career. But, dude, let's win one for Washington. You deserve it, personally. And that's why I want you to come back to Washington, and I want you to get it done. Thank you, Scott. Great question. Next question is from Paul Murphy. It says, the rumor is the Washington football team will play Atlanta in London. Will you guys come over for the game? I would love to come over for the game. I know Burroughs has told us that we'd be able to stay with him if we played in London and we came over. That plane ticket's going to be really expensive, Paul. I'll tell you that right now. I'll try to start convincing my wife. If it does happen, schedule's releases tomorrow. Once that happens, if we are playing in London, I'll start pressing the wife a little bit, Paul. I might need your help on that, though, so I'll hit you up for your help. His next question was, who's a surprise rookie of this year? And I don't really want to say surprise, because, he was drafted in the third round, but Benjamin St-Juste, he for some reason, he's kind of get thrown under the wayside. Like, people aren't really acknowledging his presence. I know, obviously, we all are, but it's like when we talk about the draft picks, it's like, everyone says, Jamin Davis, Sam Cosmi, and then Diami Brown. Like, everyone just, for some reason, leaves out Benjamin St-Juste, right? But I feel like they drafted that dude knowing what he could do and contribute. He's 6'3", 6'4", long-armed kid. He's a press corner. And everyone got taken a step back with William Jackson last year. I mean, with signing of William Jackson, like, wait, we played a lot of zone. This is a press man kind of corner. Why are they bringing him in? Jack loves a zero blitz. So he brings in William Jackson to be able to add that to the defense this year. I think Benjamin St-Juste could be the surprise rookie this year. With how good that he is against press man, with his length and his ability being on the outside there, pushing Kendall to the slot or Jimmy in the slot, whatever have you. A lot of offense like to spread you out, so you're going to have a lot of the DBs. But I think Benjamin St-Juste could be the surprise rookie. And because of how often he could see the field and how lethal he really could be. I know that his time at Minnesota, what they would do is if it was like a stacked formation, if there was only two wide receivers, they had stacked tight ends, Benjamin St-Juste would always be collapsing down on the tight end. He wouldn't move to the other side of the field to go against the second wide receiver. He would collapse on the tight end because he's 6'3". He can go against those tight ends. So I think Benjamin St-Juste will be the surprise rookie. Now our next question is from good friend of the pod, Tony Franchise. Thank you, Tony. He wants to know, is there any final roster spots that should be addressed? I know this is all kind of the same question. I get it. But like I said, Tony, I think linebacker, pass rusher in particular, that's about it for me. Like, I truly mean it when I say the Washington football team, Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, they've all done a great job of taking the weaknesses of this team and turning it into a strength. And they've done a great job with that. And that's why it's hard for me to kind of sit here and say what all their holes need to be filled. Obviously, this isn't a perfect team, but with what's out there, what's reasonable, I don't see really much of it being a glaring 100%. We need this right now. To be perfectly honest with you, I know it's kind of boring, Tony. I'm sorry, but I don't really have anything for it. I've already answered it twice. Now our next question is from Sean. How many primetime games do you think Washington football team gets this year? That's a great question, Sean. Now I do think they get one because they didn't have any last year until things were adjusted. Obviously, they got flexed to Sunday night against the Eagles, which considered primetime. But I do think it will be one. It'll be more than last year because they had to earn it last year, right? And I think they did with their play against Tampa, getting into the playoffs, obviously depleted a division, everything like that. But they did a great job. And I think they do deserve to have that one primetime game this year. Hopefully it's Monday night. That's the best. Or Sunday night's actually the best. They performed the best there. But we proved that wrong last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers by going into Pittsburgh and handing them that fat whale. That fat dude, Big Ben. God, that guy's so annoying. Sean's next question is, do you guys think we'll open up on the road? And that's a great question, Sean, because I do think we will, because my hope is that we open the season against the Bucs. And the reason why I want that, because we couldn't see this playoff game last year against the Bucs in person. We all had to sit there live on television and watch it. If you're playing the Bucs this year, why wouldn't you, if you're the NFL, have the home opener for the Washington football team be against the Bucs? Give them the ability to see the rematch. Say, look, this is what you missed last year at playoffs. Here you go. And this is a team that played Tampa better than any other NFC team in the playoffs. They played them incredibly well. Obviously, they didn't win. I know. I'm not giving them credit for that. But they can play and keep up with the Bucs. Let's bring that here, dude. Let's have that home opener here. And that's what I want. I want the home opener against the Bucs so we can kind of see going against the best of the best, dude. Let's start it off fast. We're going against first place schedule. Let's get the Bucs out of the way first thing. Get the team and ready for the season. Now, our Week 18 opponent prediction. I think it's Dallas. Very quick answer. I think it's Dallas. I think the NFL, especially Washington, is kind of knowing how the season's going to go. Philly, I wouldn't expect to be that Week 17 game, but I think it's Dallas. And the way things are going to go, that would be an exciting matchup if Dallas and Washington in Week 18 fighting for the playoffs coming and doing it. I would love that. That's great television. Mark Baxter's next question is, what's your preferred location for a new stadium and why is it the National Harbor? I've actually done some work at the National Harbor. I wired up the Gaylord Auditorium a couple years ago. I love the National Harbor. It's kind of like, it's like a weird sphere. Like it's on its own way. Like nobody messes with anybody over there. It's really a great spot. But honestly, Mark, I would love the National Harbor. I think that's a great idea. The only issue is like traffic, because getting out of there's not that many lanes. There's not much you can really do to help things. So National Harbor is kind of hard with that because, obviously MGM is over there, but it's over on the side where it's easier to get on the highway. And you're not kind of having the volume of traffic that a stadium would. So I love the National Harbor. I love the sights of it and everything, but it's got to be RFK, dude. Tear down RFK, rebuild on top of it, make it better than it was before. That's the best way to keep the history while making new history. I would love that. Our next question is from Prince Akeem. He says, would you rather trade 2 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson if he can play, or 2 first-rounders to move up in the draft, or trade 1 first-rounder for Derek Carr? You got it. Dude, Prince, you just got hammering me right now, dude, because this is a hard one. I have to choose one of these, right? I have to. 2 first-rounders for Watson, okay? I know. It's crazy. I get it. I'm like the one dude that always says, don't give away your assets. I want to be able to keep building. But if I have to choose here, I don't want my twin and Derek Carr coming here. I don't want to trade a first for him. He's not worth that first. I don't care what anyone says, especially Hall. Not worth that first. Deshaun Watson, though, he's young, hasn't had a surrounding cast around him, and he's still excelled, put up great numbers. If you're going to bank on selling your future on anyone, it's going to be on somebody who's been willing and been productive in a system without anyone around him, and that's Deshaun Watson. So if you're kind of banking on saying, okay, well, if everything goes wrong, will he still be able to produce if we give away all these assets, if we can't use those assets to help us in those times? And Watson has proved that. So if I'm going to choose anything here, Prince, it's a great question. I'm going to go with Watson with the 2 firsts. Our next question is from Road Chaser, RO Chaser. He wants to know, wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 6 on the Washington football team depth chart. Who you got and why? So at the 5th wide receiver spot, I will say it goes to Cam Sims. The 6th wide receiver spot, I think that's an easy one for Cam Sims. I think he earned it last year with his play. The one-handed grab against Pittsburgh, being consistent throughout the entire year, just doing what he needed to do. I thought he earned himself a roster spot on this team. The 6th spot, I love Kelvin Harmon. I really do. I've seen his workout videos. He's working very hard to get back, and I respect the hell out of him for doing that. But I think it's AGG. And the reason why I say AGG, I know we had a terrible year. A lot of people are saying that AGG most likely might be off this team or possibly on the practice squad come training camp and everything. But AGG offers something that nobody else in this wide receiving group really has, and that's size. That's something this coaching staff really likes. I mean, look back at their Kelvin Benjamin. Look at Devin Funchess. They go out and they get these big guys. They like that. And obviously, Diami Brown's only 6 foot. Terry McLaurin about 5'11". Curtis Samuel, I believe, is like 6 foot, if not 6'1". AGG has speed, but he's also tall. He just has to get what's the best way? He has to develop into an actual wide receiver, and a lot of wide receivers in the pros do better in year 2 if you're not a freak of nature like Justin Jefferson or Terry McLaurin. Normal people have to go through the development process, and that's what AGG went through. Obviously, he was hampered by injury with COVID and everything. Everyone has that excuse, but I really think AGG deserves that 6th spot just because of what he brings to the table. I don't want to see him go to the practice squad and possibly plucked. Good chance it might not happen, but I think that 6th spot, row, I think that's AGG spot. Now to finish this all up, Richard Adams. He had the same question. I should just write these down together. He said, should we be looking at any other players for the roster? Yes, my man Richard. Yes, we should. Ryan Kerrigan, Quan Alexander, KJ Wright, just to name a few, in my personal opinion. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I'm sorry that the mics couldn't be here and make it more fun. Actually funny. I'm not funny at all. I wish they could be here, but Hall drove to New Hampshire yesterday and drove back today. He's dead tired. He said he was going to try really hard to get on the pod, but he couldn't. Reed had a office visit he had to do, got stuck in traffic, had his kid with him. It's got really pressing. Most likely wasn't able to be here, but thank you to everyone for sticking around. I appreciate you guys getting through this episode with us. I thank you to Doc Walker again for joining us. He brings such great energy, wisdom, and memories to be able to help us understand what it's like to be on that RFK and be an alumni of the Washington football team. That was a fantastic time. Make sure you guys catch us on Thursday. We're going to have a great episode. The mics are going to be back, I promise. We're going to have a great episode for you guys, and we're going to discuss some great things with the Washington football team. All right, everybody, I'm Kyle, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday. Washington football. Wait, what? Washington football. Woo! What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.